Well, it looks like it's running. So we should get started. A lot of great things to discuss this evening. Or just some things. I don't know how many of them are great. Some of them are okay. But we'll get to all of them. Colt, hello, sir. Glad to see that you are here. Adam Hall, hello, hello. I can entertain you all on a wonderful Tuesday evening. Now that I have recovered from a strenuous weekend. Hello, sir, ma'am. Damn. Uncle Guns. Dustin, good to see you. Things situated here around me, which I should have done earlier, but I was busy doing a whole bunch of nothing. Tonight, your wonderful live stream has been brought to you by the wonderful folks at Rock God Brewing Company. They are hard at work right now brewing the Imperium Quad Belgian Quad, I guess is the terminology. It is still in the brewing portion, fermenting station part. Sometime this month, we will take it out of the ferment and put it in rum barrels to age them. So, yes, I was early. Doesn't happen often. Well, really, I only say 8:05 because I'm trying to keep you all from bitching at me. Yes, Belgian Quad, the official Tremis Dynamics beer, coming next month sometime. A number of limited edition bottles. Oh, you are here to be put in a better mood. Well, my friend, that will work right up until we mention politics. That's later in the episode. TJ, hello. Javier, good to talk to you again. Talked to you earlier today. Jeff, good to see you. I'm not drinking any Rock God beer this evening. I have some in the fridge, but in my wonderful oak barrel, miniature oak barrel. Today is some cherry mead from Groenfell Meadery. I don't know how to fucking pronounce this because I don't speak like Nordic, but it's I think it's heavier, but it's spelled with G's. Like this is the stuff. Like limited edition. It's in their ancient collection. It's a really nice bottle. But 15.9% is what we're going with tonight. I am ready to hoist the black myself. Brittany, hello. Mike, good to see you. On the TV. I'm intimidating. It's the only time I'm large, though. There's a in there somewhere. Not appropriate, I'm sure. So, we'll get to the politics part later after I've had a few more beers so I can be real riled up. But there are things happening. I have a whole list of stuff that includes notes. But we'll get to the good shit first. Bug the Fuck Out 12 was a resounding success. We had two teenage boys with us, two 13-year-old boys, made it through like champs. My son carried all his own shit, obviously, like why wouldn't you? And set up his own tarp without my help. Decided he did not like the location and moved it, also without my help. So it was a good time on the Bug Out. It was remarkably more difficult than I recall it being. And I had told folks at the bottom of the hill that with the Bug Out, every time you do it, it seems a little easier. And this one, like it was as difficult as like the fifth or sixth one. It kind of rewinded a little bit in its difficulty level. Just seemed longer. Mike, if he is here, if he checks in at all, he usually forgets about them until afterwards. He can give you the stats for how long. It was 12 miles, like we said. 2,000 feet at the highest elevation. But when I started, like, it's either 800 or 600. I can't remember which. So we get like 12 or 1,400 feet of elevation change. Most of that is in the third mile, but This one was a little more difficult, but it was successful. No real complaints. Scott and I brought some firewood in the weekend before to make sure we had some, and it was cold, like 25 degrees overnight. So having some fire was good. The Wiggy's bag, definitely a thumbs up. Steve, hello. Zach, hello. But yeah, it was a resounding success. I don't know if there's one on the schedule for the spring or not, but it may change because assuming the world doesn't catch fire and burn down, I have a spring tour planned, and it may interfere with the dates for the bug out. We got some snow, Javier. That's how the weather was. We had some snow today. Not a lot, just the dusting, but it was chilly. It's been in the 20s. I have a down jacket I got from Tactical Distributors that has been working well. I have a Beyond clothing down jacket too that's fucking huge and puffy. Actually bought it really big, so if I'm wearing like a chest rig at the range, I can put it on over it and still zip it up, which means I don't wear it everywhere because I feel like I could slide someone else in it with me. So I got this one from Tactical Distributors, and it's much lower profile. I also have that Cryptek one. I think there might be on a video somewhere around this YouTube channel. And that one is super warm, pretty lightweight, but it's a Cryptek Yeti, which is my favorite Cryptek, but it's awfully white. So probably not gonna, wear that around a lot. It'll be black soon. But yeah, so I don't know when what the deal is for the bug out in the spring. We may move the date. This is the summer that we will do a summer bug out. It will be alumni only, no invites. So if you are a Bug the Fuck Out alumni, you'll be welcome to come back. We are going to make this one special. We're going to do the bug out trip backwards. So we're going to start at the end, go the other direction. When we stash an emergency vehicle up on the top of the mountain, we're going to leave a cooler full of meats and beers in it, and leave all of our tents and sleeping bags and shit like that in the truck, so that when we walk to it on the easier of the two directions, we can bust out the grill, like a little gas grill, pour over the fire, cook us up some steaks, dogs, burgers, have some beers. Wake up in the morning, put everything back in the truck, hike down the goat trail, and call it a successful alumni bug out. We will cache some items at the top. So that'll be the ticket. And it'll be much more enjoyable than the traditional way of going up the bug out. Oh, yes, Crystal. Oh, yep, that one's not gonna work. I think if I can get everybody on my Southern tour to agree to hanging out with me, I will probably leave February 20 or something and come back March 20 something, which will include 2 live classes in Texas, one on the east, one on the west. So there's that. May have to move that a little bit, maybe April. So there's that. First thing on the list, bug the fuck out. 12A success. We can talk about that when we get to the question and answer period if you like. We don't really have a question and answer period. You just type them and I read them, I'll answer them. But on that, since Zach is here, we will mention something else. Also, Adam is here. I know he can relay this message, so those 2 people are important to my next comment. And Crystal is here. I just saw her post that he's going to put a link on TremisDynamics.com. There is now a link for cold weather hot shotgun, which I still have a hard time saying with a straight face. Oh, the link is live. That is a joint class between Definitive Training Solutions and Tremis Dynamics. Essentially, I think what we're doing is taking Definitive Shotgun, the 1-day class, and Dynamic Blunderbuss, the 1-day workshop. We're going to put them at opposite ends of a Large Hadron Collider, smash them together, and make a 2-day class for you guys. So it's not one class and the next class. It is both of them stuffed together. That is Black Friday weekend next year, but the link is finally live. 2 days of shotgun training from two folks who think similarly about the shotgun as far as what it's designed to do and approach it from different directions. So it should be entertaining as well as informative. Now, here's the deal. 2 days, $400. Fits right in line with what I always consider to be a good rate for firearms training, $200 per training day. Some things require more, some you can get away with less, but that's to me like the good average to think. So $400 for the class, $100 to get you on the list for a deposit. Zach doesn't normally do deposits, but I'm handling all the registrations, so I will gladly take a deposit. If you pay for the class or a deposit, either one, as soon as that money comes in, we are taking $100 out of every class tuition that we get, and we are sending it to the Zach Hall GoFundMe. So when you are gonna, come get some shotgun blunderbuss action with us, you're also going to be supporting a good cause for a great dude that needs our help while he's fighting off the cancer, the big C word. And he's a bad motherfucker. So I'm pretty sure he's got this lickety split. However, there's a lot of things we can help. And one of those is send some money their way so that while he's unable to go collect a paycheck and all those things, we can help offset some of his costs. Zach and Stephanie are great people. And the other Zach and I decided we should do something with our class. And so we're just taking a quarter of the cost of the class and donating it directly to Zach's GoFundMe. So literally, if you go sign up right now, you just put a deposit down. That's a $100 deposit. I'll take the first $100 of that and I would just drop it right in the GoFundMe tonight. There's like a 3% credit card or something like that. I'll even cover it myself just to make sure that your $100 goes straight to Zach and Stephanie. So that's the cool announcement that we had, was the class live and ready to sign up, and you will be helping a great dude through a hard fight. All right. There is no gear list at the moment, but that will be coming. Don't worry. Once Zach and the other Zach and I hash all that out. Of course, one of them could have spelled the name with a K instead of H so that I could say K Zach and H Zach or something. But nope. They got to make it difficult on me. So I don't even know what that says. Oh, yeah. That's that announcement. Came up with a couple gear things I'd like to talk about. We have a gun gear thing and the other end of the gun gear thing. Which one do you want to talk about first? Something that you use on the gun or something you use your gun on? First person to answer, they make the call. Gun part or gun access, gun, other gun related thing. Someone, anyone, nothing? You guys are terrible. I know there's a lag. On the gun. Tim Larson says on the gun. And Crystal said other, but sorry, dear, you're running late. So on the gun. It's been on my Instagram, so some of you have probably seen it. Both things I want to talk about. This is the Duber that has no name that goes on the gun. So the way this works is you run your sling through this little Blue Force gear piece that no longer has the wire loop on it, shot cord. You run your sling through that. Then it's got this pull tab that comes, it's designed for an AK open top bungee mag pouch because it fits on the corner of the magazine. And then sewn in the other end is an HK hook that I hacked the fucking gate off and shortened the hook a little bit. So John over at UW Gear sewed these Dubers up for me. On Blue Force gear, I sacrificed a U loop, added some shot cord, and it's got some stretch. The way this works, if you have a sling attachment point at the back of your receiver, the ticket is, grab a rifle here. I know YouTube doesn't like it. Fuck. So there is I took my sling, I shrunk it down, like it's a Vickers sling. And I took the dead end with that piece on it, wrapped it around my stock, and now it's attached to my sling attachment point with a bungee. So now I have a sling off. I make it long, I can use it, all that shit, keep it in the car. And when I'm done shooting it or done carrying it, like holstering it, AKA on my body, and I like to have it just in my hands without a sling hanging free or wrapped around my body, I can shorten the sling, stretch the bungee, and wrap it back around my sling attachment point to keep the sling tight alongside the gun. So a couple little parts, a little bit of sewing, and voila. Sling management that is repeatable. And, all know I'm a big fan of the black tape. In fact, I have a roll of it sitting right behind the monitor there. See if that rifle will stay upright. If you hear a big crash, that's what it was. But this allows you to not have to stop and retape the gun. So like when I carry a rifle in the truck, it's not a big deal. It just comes and goes, comes and goes, comes and goes. However, since I shoot my rifles a lot, it always means I'm laying the gun back down, taping it back up, put it back in the truck. This, I can run a drill and put it back at the end of the drill. Or if for instance, I was shooting at people to save my life, then said, I got to put the sling on and, climb a fence or carry a dude. And then I wanted to fight with the rifle again. I don't like wearing the sling while fighting with the rifle. I can take it off, shorten it, attach it, and now I'm ready to fight with it again the way I want. And all the parts are essentially commercial off-the-shelf parts. Don't ask if you can get one from me, because currently the answer is no. However, I have some plastic people working with me about maybe making something similar to this that I don't have to buy a $14 part and cut off the expensive part to use. Maybe even a different plastic hook instead of an HK hook. We shall see. But if I can, maybe I'll get some extras made and keep them around and sell them cheaply. That's a Nerf soft rifle. We'll go with that, Gabe. Dustin, we probably could figure out something for a side folding AK, depending which side the stock folds on and where the sling's attached on it. Because I've seen side folders go right, I've seen side folders go left. So we could probably figure something out. Mr. Rock God himself is here. Hello, sir. And while you may say that's crappy looking stitching, Mr. Alpha Charlie Concepts, it's so camouflaged you can't even see the stitching. And I think the stitching is beautiful, by the way. In case you guys are wondering, Mr. Alpha Charlie Concepts is the fellow that did the sewing for me. Interesting idea, TJ. I actually thought about something with the charging handle. So that is the item that the minds at the Tremis Dynamics development team came up with on the gun. We went way down a rabbit hole of magnets and all kinds of things to figure out a way to quickly stow the sling for transport, and throwing it all away. And this came out of it, and it really started with a D-ring. The impetus, like the catalyst, I should say, was the pull tab for the AKs, and it just spiraled from there. So that was the item for off a gun. Oh, you know what? I have another item for on the gun right here too. It's not on my list of stuff to talk about, but I can talk about it anyway. So some of you may have been following Ammo Supply Warehouse's social medias, and they showed some Silica Carbide grips that I did for Mr. Becker that he put online to sell. Apparently some of them have sold. I don't know. But the US palm grips, and I dropped off a batch of those to him last week before the bug out, And I finished the last of the US palm grips yesterday and did 5 special Magpul grips. And they're special because they're plum. So there's still some plum left at the top and the bottom, and they're sufficiently gritted up. He's going to have a few of those on the website as soon as I drop them off to him. I'm doing some flat dark earth and some black AK grips next, and then a bunch of AR grips. So there are more coming, and he'll be selling. But there will be some plum. I covered most of the plum, but I did leave some for folks that want to color coordinate and whatnot. What I did not realize is Magpul, all of their bottoms, so like on the Mead AR grips and all the AK grips that have the plug thing, like they use a black plug regardless of the color of the grip, whether it be gray, tan, whatever. Kind of disappointing. But either way, those are happening as well. Jason, I'm glad to see that you got one. The fucking things are grippy. So there's that on gun thing as well. I guess I can't really cross that off. I never wrote it on there. Basically, Dustin, bring that Galileo with you, and we'll figure it out. Gary did get a buck the other day. I saw a picture of it. You have to do a crafting day, Crystal. Alpha Charlie Concept sent me a couple of stencils from Primary Arms, and the ones that he didn't have, I ordered the other ones. So I have a pile of stencils to use and video to make and whatnot. Gabe, I think he's got 2, doesn't he? I thought the first one was a buck. Maybe I'm wrong. I know he's got 2 though. I've seen pictures of 2. Yes, it is a mixture of 47 and 70 grit, TJ. Sorry, Gary, didn't mean to throw you under the bus. I thought the first one was a buck. Well, in my defense, it was 20 degrees and I was on a mountain, and I didn't care so much that you text. So yeah, it's a combination 47 and 70. I have a pistol with that, and it's pretty rough on my love handle. It's great on my hand, but I also have tried some combination 60 and 90. I think that'll be the way to go for a pistol, is the 60-90. Not on the hand part, but on the wearing on your body part. A little finer grit is easier. So now the other thing that I had made, also not for sale, although it probably could be, I just wouldn't have any idea how much. But Shoot Steel stopped selling their cardboard targets. So I went back to and bought a couple hundred IPSC targets or USPSA targets. And their brain box is okay. Not the right shape, but I can live with it. The heart box is retardedly huge. So I wanted something to fix that with. And I managed to only use like 4 or under 10, I'm sure, USPSA targets and classes this year until I was out of Shoot Steels. So I reached out to a friend of Monsieur Becquez, Shinday, and he has a company that does, I will answer that question. Steve, just let me get back to it. He has a company that does a bunch of construction work, and they have a laser, CNC laser. So they've been cutting a bunch of cool ornamental stuff out of sheet metal. So I had him make me 2 of these. This is a stencil for on a USPSA target, and it has a cranial ocular cavity in it. And if you notice, it's roughly the size of mine. And where the heart is also is roughly where mine is at. And then for the other sizes, it the big square at the bottom goes nipple to nipple, sternal notch to xiphoid process. It's the size of me. So you can take a cardboard target, the outside edge lays right around head, and you got yourself a great brain and heart location. I did the heart about the size of my fist. And the outside edge would be everything important in the lung area. I needed to put some type of shape on it. So I just measured myself and figured at class next year, I'm going to teach all you fucks how to shoot me. If you can shoot me, you can probably hit an adult as well. If there were interest in having some of those, I could probably get some more made. He's got all the measurements and everything. So, I mean, I guess if anybody else, I got 2 in case I did one or something. But if anybody wants something like that, so you can I stencil mine with a Sharpie, but you could just as easy hit it with spray paint. If anybody wants something like that, like let me know, and I'll reach out to Shinday and see if I can get some more made, and try not to make a whole lot of money off of it. John, yeah, actually it's dwarf killing 101. We call it Orc School, killing the dwarves. Now, I'm going to cross that target stencil thing off my list. Oh yeah, the burpees are going to go up because the heart got a lot smaller. To answer Steve's question earlier, Javier is right. I use the XL grip frame on the regular 365. The 365 top I like better because the XL top end, if you take the factory iron sight off the rear, the only thing you can replace it with is a red dot. So you're stuck with the built-in factory rear or a red dot. And if I was going to put a red dot on it, I would want the shorter grip because the red dot makes the gun this much taller. I'd like to take that much off the bottom end to keep the size right. The 12 round magazine is perfect. The XL grip puts the magazine seam between the base plate and the frame here. And if you run a 12 round magazine in the short frame, it puts the seam in between these 2 fingers. So when you load, you have to remember to pull some fingers off or you pinch the fuck out of your hand. I will find out, Mr. John, about what Shinday will charge for him. We did a horse trade, so I couldn't tell you an actual monetary cost, but I will ask him. I don't even know what the hell to call this stencil. Dwarf Vital stencil. Seems good. That's pretty cool. Sling thing. But, I don't even know what to call the sling thing either. I can't call it a sling thing. Pat Mack already sells a thing. His might be a sling ding. I don't remember. I'll cross this stuff off my list. Ooh, you're almost there. But I think I need something like the Tremis Intermediate Target Stencil. So it's abbreviated as TITS. All right, make sure I didn't miss any questions. Had to jump up there and read them. So some of you I may have mentioned earlier in the last live stream, I don't remember if I did or not, that we did a night land nav. And when we did the land nav, we also took out a bunch of different types of camouflage, and at a further distance and closer distance, check them out under night vision. And under the farther distance, woodland, like old school M81 woodland and original Vietnam tiger stripe, the one like the OVTS, like the one Tim Schloss owns the trademark to, worked awesome at a little further out, like at the macro level, maybe not full blown macro level, but 40 yards plus out, because the dark spots made great shadows. Up close, it was more obvious it was a pattern. And AR2 was like third best at that intermediate distance, and the best up close. So we were real impressed with AR2. However, we found some things were remarkably different than what we thought they were going to be. Multicam worked terrible, and Marpat worked better than what I was led to believe. Wait, he's got a Sunday afternoon live stream? I didn't even realize they were Sunday afternoons. I was fucking working Sunday afternoons. Anyway, so back to our camouflage test. So then I did some research, and it turns out lots of differences in materials. We tried real hard to keep our materials to uniform material. I can't necessarily say, like 100% cotton was some, 50-50 was on others. I think the one might have been a polycotton and some Cordura because it was what we had gear in. And we found that like 500 denier Cordura did not reflect as much as 1,000 denier Cordura. And for the most part, we found a bunch of synthetic materials reflected light better than natural fibers did. The natural fibers seemed to camouflage better, and the synthetics seemed to glow. But there were a couple exceptions to that, and I'll talk about one in a minute. That was a fucking amazing. But doing my research, it turns out that laundry detergent plays a big role, and laundry detergent has a lot of optical brighteners in it that dye your clothes to look brighter. It's a way that laundry detergent people cheat to make your clothes look better. Well, as it turns out, once we start getting into the wavelengths that night vision's looking at, those things fucking glow. So it turns out there is some items to help alleviate that. They are on the shelf right over my shoulder. The blue bottle is UV killer. It is meant for things that have already been washed at least once in regular detergent. Regular detergent, when the optical brighteners don't wash it, they dye make them brighter. Like bleach, in essence, that it makes it brighter, but it doesn't do that by removing things. It adds things to it. Almost adding something phosphorescent will make it seem brighter. So that bottle has their squirt top on it, and you use that to dye over top of the optical brighteners in order to kill those. The other stuff in the orange is Sport Wash. It is a detergent that cleans your clothes, but it doesn't have optical brighteners in it to trick you into thinking they're cleaner than they really are. What that does is keeps them from glowing under night vision. So a bunch of things I own that have already been washed are going to have to get the UV killer treatment, and all my shit that I plan to wear in the dark is going to have to now be washed in the orange stuff. I have a larger, like gallon size bottle or half gallon. It's bigger. I don't know what size it is. Downstairs in my office. And those are just like the samples. It was like a kit, and I realized it wasn't going to be enough, so I bought some extras. And we found that those might be the ticket to making our results a little better. Now, the thing that was amazing was over the weekend at the fuck out 12. Did I tell you that was a success? Because it was. It gets dark at like 5 o'clock, and we did not crash out till 10. So we stood around for a bit, and part of that, I busted out my PVS 14, and I wanted to see what some of the shelters looked like. And one of the guys had a flat dark earth shelter. That thing looked like a white sheet hanging in the woods, and had never been washed. It wasn't optical brighteners. That's the way it reflected light. And I was like, oh, that really sticks out. And I suspected that mine was going to as well. It's multicam, but the print doesn't seem to make as much of a difference as the material. It is made by Velocity Systems. It is called a Basha. It is a super ultra lightweight tarp. And I had made my shelter with that. And like a not a lean-to, like a two-sided shelter coming off of a tree. So the two sides were down, the foot was down, the head was up about 20 inches off the ground. And I slid underneath that thing. So I looked at that through night vision, completely invisible. It was the absolute best camouflage under night vision that I have seen yet. So whatever the material is, that really lightweight, not, it almost feels like a parachute material, and whatever they dye it with, damn, was that good. It was like the floor of the woods looked exactly like the multicam, just gone. Now, Velocity Systems Basha, not cheap. So, I mean, for the price you pay, it should be awesome. But it threw a little bit of a monkey wrench in the whole idea that the material, the man-made materials, the synthetic materials, overall seem to be worse than the natural fibers. That one was amazing. And TJ, you can wear a poncho. It actually so it's rectangular shaped. One of the corners, it isn't folded over, but they added a piece to make a triangle out of it, so that you could take the triangle and put it over your head and then wrap it around you like a poncho. And I bet you it'd work pretty well. I wasn't tearing it down to try it out that night like that. But that is going to be in a future night vision pattern material test that we do. So I'm going to find out how well it works that way. I was super impressed, though, how much it blended in for being just basically a sheet of plastic. Thoughts on using a hammock to keep you off the ground? If the temperature is below 60 degrees, I would not do it. If the I might do it at 55 degrees with a underpad. But like we were at 25 degrees and the wind was blowing, having wind blowing above you or underneath you is going to make you cold. I prefer to be low out of the wind than to be off the ground and in the wind. My preferred method is a inflatable climate. That's with a sleeping pad. I think I use the Static V Recon. I don't know if it's Roman numeral or what. Blow that up and throw that between the Gore-Tex bivy that my sleeping bag is in, so I can roll off of it and low to the ground. And then I use my tarp, also low to the ground, sealed on 3 sides, and the side that's in the air has a tree blocking it. And then I put my rucksack in the covering one of those, keep the wind from blowing over the top of me as well, because moving air is terrible when trying to stay warm. Although hammocks are super comfortable. Like, I like to take a nap in them. Mike asked, did Wiggies let anyone down? Wiggies did not. We had 5 Wiggies bags, I believe. And everybody that had a Wiggies bag was warm in the Wiggies bag. And I think George had an extra Wiggy. I think 2 guys had the booties. One had like the regular socks, and one had the ones that are just meant for sleeping, I think. And they were good. And George had the mesh shirt thing, and he loves that. And the downside of Wiggies is everything they make. George had the fucking parka too, the giant parka. They don't make anything that packs small. It's not super heavy, but it's not light. But it's not small. Like, making things small, Wiggies, them small enough. John brings up a good point that if you're in a hammock, trying to keep a rifle handy is pretty rough. Well, I guess I can talk a little bit about that as well. I shared this after review with some folks. I used Eberly stock F4 Terminator pack. That was like the version 1, I believe. I think they're in the version 3. And I had a rifle in the rifle. It was a little SBR because that's the one I have set up for night stuff. And then I packed my bug out shit in it instead of using my regular Kelty. And I'm not a fan. It's essentially like, I would not want to carry more than a rifle and about 15 pounds worth of shit. I added 13 pounds of gun stuff. So like night vision, magazines, rifle was like 13 pounds. So my bag went from like 25 pounds to like 38 pounds. And that pack is not great for 38 pounds. So it's very comfortable. Like, it didn't hurt my hips. It didn't hurt my shoulders. It felt great, like, carrying it. But the rifle pack, section is like this thick. and everything's behind that, and I'm on the other side of it. So all my weight was really far behind me. And the idea when you pack a backpack, for those of you that don't know, is you put the heavy things up high so that when you walk with that little bit of a forward lean, the weight of the heavy stuff is directly over your hips. When you've got a 4 or 5 inch fucking gap before you even get to the stuff, you can't lean over far enough to put the heavy things over your hips. So they're all like a giant fucking sail hanging off your back. So it's very unbalanced. And if you've ever been up the goat path, and I know people in this chat have been up that goat path, having that weight like way behind you swinging around is not a way to stay on your feet. So that was a very disappointing finding for the pack. Now, when it's got like 20, 24 pounds in it, including the rifle, there's not enough weight to really throw you off balance. So going forward, it might work to me more like a long range bag. I'll throw my 308 in there, and then like a spotting scope and some 308 mags in the long range stuff, and just use that as a gear bag for long range things. Wow. Trump lost again, says 6-pack American. Yes, TJ, it was loaded and chambered in the bag with the thumb safety on. There is nothing to catch it coming in and out of that bag, so I wasn't concerned about it. I don't even know what that fellow's talking about. I mean, I guess I could segue into the political part, but my political part only vaguely, even remotely touches on the fact that Trump as a politician has a lot more to do with Governor Wolf. And my disdain for that man. And I use the word man loosely because he is a male. That I will give him. He is a biological male. Far from a man. Far, like incredibly far from being a man. But what's great is he doesn't keep his mouth shut. I'm not throwing stuff randomly. I'm reading the comments here, dear. But back to our lovely Governor Wolf. He does not keep his mouth shut around people around him that he like the unseens. What's great about people who feel like they're powerful people, tiny little human beings who feel like they're in charge of stuff. They talk like the servants don't listen. And what's great is those folks talk, and our governor likes to talk around all the servants, and those people talk, and some of it gets back to me, which is fantabulous. So being a man doesn't necessarily have much to do with being biologically male. And I can say, due to the things he says, he's far from a man. Oh, Britt, yeah, his comment, yeah, whatever. Normally, I try to ignore people that have funky usernames, like Death Dealer 69 shit, but every once in a while they're entertaining, and some of my friends still have them too. So I just have to deal with it. I think you're right, because I got a friend request from Midwest Industries on Facebook today. I accepted it, not believing that it was someone from Midwest Industries. I just wanted to go look and see what they had posted, and this copying things currently from the actual Midwest Industry site, which is not a person, it is a page. And I started to send Pete a message, and then only done, and I forgot to hit send. So Pete, if you're listening, somebody might be fucking with you or trying to steal your identity and whatnot, and I forgot to hit send. Yeah, ammo warehouse, that was a thing going on too. Actually, a couple classes back, I don't remember which one. It might have been maybe the Force on Force class. There was a couple Instagram pages that weren't pretending to be me. They just used a bunch of pictures from my Instagram and made new Instagrams. It said I was undercover special operations general in South America doing undercover stuff or something. And I thought it was humorous. I reported and got this taken down too, but at least now I'm an undercover general. I was like, man, they don't even have generals in my branch. But whatever. So since we got a little bit on the political spectrum, I do have this other note here. So in case you all didn't hear, there's the Not Fucking Around Crew Corporation, Not Fucking Around Corporation, NFAC, and it might not be corporation, but let's be honest, it's corporate. It's corporate sponsored. There's big company money funding it. It's corporate. They're not funding around corporation. They have a dude in charge of it. I don't know his real name. It was on the internet, but I don't care. But he goes by the internet handle Grand Dragon Z, which strangely enough is some type of like Ku Klux Klan rank. So maybe he's in the Klan. I have no idea, but he's a Grand Dragon. And he was arrested for pointing a gun at feds. And like, frankly, I'm at this point in my life, I don't do points a gun at feds, but it's funny that the Grand Wizard or the Grand Dragon or whatever it is of the Not Fucking Around Corporation got arrested for it. I salute his time in prison. So I read that today and got a little chuckle out of it. Because as it turns out, like when a bunch of like mayors and whatnot like want chaos and anarchy, and governors want people to be scared to leave their house for violence, so that they will turn to the government. Just because you have those in your back pocket and they work for you or you work for them or whatever. Like they're I'm sure the Grand Dragon Z is in the direct employ of some government officials. If you point guns at feds, you're still going to get arrested. Yes, the Chappelle thing with the blind black man. That's actually I read an interesting story about a black fella that like went and befriended a bunch of Klan people and basically made them less inbred and retarded. And they're like, hey, I kind of like this dude and he's all right. And why do I act this way? I should drink bleach, but or whatever they came up with. But he actually turned a bunch of people around to not being fucking idiots. And I can't remember who he is, but I thought it was a good story. I applaud him. Yes, he was. God, I wish I could remember his name. If someone comes up with it, you can post it here. If anyone knows him, like, like personally, send him my way. I'd like to have a beer. Fuck it, I'll give him a free. To which, doing Pennsylvania in a couple, you voided it. I'm okay with that. Your terms are acceptable to me, but I'm all right if a federal lawsuit from Texas voids our nationality, passports revoked, all that for the whole state. I'm okay with it. It's warranted. I'm okay if they decide the executive has the rights human beings like humans, and they execute them on the spot too. Whatever they feel is necessary. At this point, the executive, I used to feel that the executive office of Pennsylvania, I felt this way for the last few governors, was now at the point where I feel the executive branch is illegitimate. So like the PennDOT workers, the guys that rode, because the who they report to is an illegitimate branch, not just an illegitimate office. So there'll be no compliance from me to anybody whose direct chain of command ends in the executive office of this state. So yeah, if you're all reading, you can go fuck yourself. I ain't helping you in the least fucking bit. Because we have illegitimate executive and I'm pretty sure at this point judicial branch in our state. I would love to see the whatever states we've wronged at this point. It seems to be Texas is the one. Literally, if they waged war on us, it would be a legitimate war. The federal government has already determined the Constitution does not apply here. So if they wanted to invade, rock on. You have my blessing. That's how fucking disgusted I am with our executive. Apparently, there's some sketchiness in the feed. Yes, there's some bills that Bud Wolf, Tom Dwyer, whatever his name is, has vetoed. Don't care. Non-compliance. If there's a state rule about firearms, I'm just going to ignore them and do my thing. Natural rights are natural rights, and nothing that the illegitimate executive of our state says changes any of that. Hey, you guys are coming back. Perfect. Opinion of the ATAC Land Nav Comms app. We're at the question and answer period because I'm done ranting about fucking politics. I have not used the ATAC Land Nav /comms apps. Oftentimes, oh yeah, down to 8 in the chat. YouTube's algorithms do not like the words I'm using. How about you all watch it happen? The algorithms caught the live stream and said, ooh, we need to start having technical issues because he's saying things about politics. Where are we? It'll all be there in the replay. You can watch it. Just remember, it starts at like the 45-minute part. I think. Take a guess. 50 minutes, somewhere in there. So ATAC Land Nav Comms apps. I assume those are mobile apps, and I actually hate taking my phone with me when I'm doing any land nav, because at this point I'm not positive. Obviously, the phone is recording your location all the time. I don't know what apps are sharing that. There's been a lot of suspicious activity with applications not following the things like in the user agreement. You may have agreed to it sending your location. You're like, I'm just going to pick an app like Snapchat might record your location 24 hours a day. And once a week, upload your location to its servers. And you may agree to that because the user agreement is long and not written in common English. It is written in only in legal terms so that you don't understand. It's done that way on purpose. But I also believe that applications are violating even their own terms of service. If you haven't agreed to that, I still believe they're doing that. So when I'm doing nav, I like not to use that. I'd rather stick with a regular GPS that has no ability to transmit. Like my little Garmin, of course, it records everywhere it goes, but it has no way to give that information to anyone else. And so, so I haven't tried the app, but I'm willing to take a look at it and see. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of navigation and transmitters in the same device, or for that matter, any transmitters when I'm navigating. There's a whole lot of sketchy information in there. I think I talked last week or the week before about Facebook Messenger sending private messages to people that don't work for Facebook or the government. Like they're directly sending them to Antifa. So like if you start a Facebook account that's private and you start another Facebook account that's private and like the only friends are each other and you send a message from one to the other, that information can instantly be shared on Antifa chat rooms. So they're obviously not. I mean, I guess in theory it could be intercepted via a warrant that you aren't told about, and then like government is sharing it with Antifa. I mean, I would put it past them at this point, but Facebook, to me, it just seems like Facebook will be the one that's sharing that information based off keywords. So when that kind of thing happens, I don't necessarily know if I trust anything on this device. Like, uh, if it transmits, I assume at this point it transmits everything that it can possibly record. And since it records location, I'm sketchy on it. I will check it out because it might be useful. Something nifty about, as it turns out, with apps. If you buy a bunch of burner phones, if you're willing to run through them, you can use whatever fucking apps you want, because as everything gets pinged and recorded and sent off, by the time that it can be tracked back to any particular person, if you've moved on to the next phone, it makes it much more difficult to put all the pieces together. Good job, Mike. TJ, it very well could be. Well, I got this awesome mug, but it's now empty. I do have the refill right here, but since it's like 15.9%, I tried to ease off how fast I consumed it. Yeah, send me a link, TJ. I would appreciate checking it out. And that's something else with Signal. I had some dudes on my personal Facebook just raving that Signal is the most secure thing ever. And I mean, I know somebody that intercepts Signal for a living, and he doesn't give a fuck about Signal. And I've had other people that go to foreign countries and do things that would get them killed or imprisoned forever. Like the point where their employers, AKA, tax funded employers, would say, we don't know who that person is. And they refuse to use it because it's not trustworthy enough. So I think when it comes to governments, even Signal is not trustworthy. But I just don't think that. I think the end-to-end encryption is better for other third parties. I just don't think it matters with the government. Adam, you mentioned the T-Rex. Somebody sent me a link to something to do with radios, I think it was. And this dude's on there, and I went, hey, that's the T-Rex guy. Fuck, that dude doesn't look good. Like, he aged a lot. Like, he must have been drinking, doing some meth. And then it hit me. Like, he said something. He's like, blah, 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 Lucas. I'm like, wait, isn't that the other T-Rex dude? They must just be related. So I didn't realize there was a brother, and I pieced it all together and was like, oh, I understand. Mike, earlier, hello, sir. I had mentioned that you may have had the data on the distances and stuff for bug out, but that was an hour ago, so now might not be the time to share that info. But I bitched about the Supreme Court allowing our dictator king to continue to dictate. That was my political bent. I talked about the grand dragon of that corporation being arrested. Yep. Target stencils, sport wash back there, sling duber. That's what I should call it, the sling duber. Bug the fuck out was good. Shotgun class. So let's talk about that again. The joint class between Definitive Training Solutions and Tremis Dynamics is happening next Black Friday weekend. 2 days of shotgun shit. We took in the red corner Definitive Training Solutions, in the blue corner Tremis Dynamics, put shotguns in their hands, smashed them together, and you get a class. And $100 of every class goes straight to the Zach Hall GoFundMe. So let's help raise some money for a brother. That's my wrap up. I make sure I caught everything, but that deserves talking about again for the last 16 people that are still here. I didn't even look to see what it went up to because I don't normally pay attention to that. I have 1 hour of time elapsed. My Viking mead is empty, so it might be time to punch on out of here, pop smoke, ask for exfil, and check in with you guys next Tuesday. Me and Zach on the dueling tree. I'm down. Zach will bring his dueling tree, and we will do it. There you go, Adam. There is a YouTube video right there. Zach Bush, Garry Marr on the dueling tree. I will use a belt fed, and Zach will use something else. Sound fair, Zach? Sounds good. All right. Now that we've got that cleared up, we will move on to the evening festivities of drinking and dancing. I've got to finish reading a book about training a puppy because I got one of them coming. Klaus will be here in a few weeks. So I've got that to do. You've got something else to do. So you guys have a wonderful evening. I will see you next Tuesday. Hopefully that works for you all. If it doesn't, too fucking bad. Take it easy.